Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Carinthia in Austria. Carinthia, as you can see, is in the south of the country, bordering Slovenia here, which is very important to its history, and Italy. Along here. As you can also see, it's incredibly mountainous all throughout the state here. The Alps dominate this area, and there's many different little chains of the Alps, as you can see, going through all of these areas here. All down here to the south, creating this border here. This area here is the Carinthia, I think that's how you'd say that. But yeah, there's a lot of different alpine mountain ranges here. Probably the most famous mountain peak in Carinthia is Großglockner. I know it's hard to see on the map because there's a lot happening on it, but it is the highest peak in Austria. Because of all of these big mountains and glaciers on top of them, there's a lot of runoff, many rivers and valleys all throughout. And many of these rivers have created lakes or seas, as they say in German. The Wörthersee, or the Wörthersee, as we'd say in English, is probably the most famous because Klagenfurt is the capital of Carinthia. It's right on its shore there, but you can see there's many other lakes throughout, and many more that this map doesn't show you up in here as well. You can see all of the various rivers and lakes. There's the Drava River coming through there, creating a nice little valley along its path. There's a lot of agriculture that happens in those valleys as well. I think that's about it for geography, to be honest. So let's get right into history, starting with Carinthia's UNESCO site, because I think it was along the shores of the Wörthersee where there was a ancient settlement found that was a pile home. Now let me show you what that means. Of course, I left my tablet way on the other side of my desk. Whoopsie. Oh, let me grab that. A pile dwelling is what they're called. Prehistoric pile dwellings around the Alps. And we've read this a bunch of times. There's many different sites in many different countries around the Alps, but we'll read it again. It's the only UNESCO site this week, which is kind of a bummer, but let's read this again. This serial property of 111 small individual sites encompasses the remains of prehistoric pile dwelling or stilt house settlements in and around the Alps, built from around 5000 to 500 BCE on the edges of lakes, rivers, or wetlands. Excavations, only conducted in some of the sites, have yielded evidence that provides insight into life in prehistoric times during the Neolithic and Bronze Age in Alpine Europe, and the way communities interacted with their environment. 56 of the sites are located in Switzerland. The settlements are a unique group of exceptionally well-preserved and culturally rich archaeological sites, which constitute one of the most important sources for the study of early agrarian societies in the region. So here's a picture of some of the stilts that still remain, and this is a recreation of what these houses would have looked like. So they're all made of wood, and the thatch there for the roof, probably hay or something. and then they built the houses on these big stilts so that the water could run underneath the house. So that's all that's left of a lot of these homes here. So there was a settlement like that in Carinthia. So people have been living here for a very, very long time. Very ancient peoples. Eventually, some of those peoples came together. The Celtic tribes of the area came together to create one kingdom called Noricum. And when the Romans came and took over this area in the year 16 BCE, they kept the name and made it a province of the Roman Empire. Now, throughout history, many different peoples came in and claimed this area of what's now Austria. Almost all of them were Germanic, or in this early history would be Teutonic peoples, but all Germanic nonetheless. For a while, this area went back and forth between the Avars and the Slavs and the Bavarians. I think the Bavarians having the longest hold on this area. In the year 976, Carinthia became a duchy, separate from Bavaria. It would eventually be incorporated into the vast German, I guess kind of the Holy Roman Empire at that time. I guess it was kind of hard to describe. It was all very scattered at this time. But that was in the year 1276. But Carinthia came under the control of the Habsburgs. Not long after that, it became a crown land of the Habsburgs in 1335 and would remain in their control until the collapse of their empire in 1918. Now, just some brief things I found happening here in Klagenfurt before we reached 1918. In the year 1514, a fire destroyed the city here. And it was all rebuilt, obviously. It's still around. But because of that, the oldest buildings in this town date from after that fire in the 16th century. So all of the original buildings from way long ago are long gone, unfortunately. There was a wall around the town that was knocked down by the French in 1809 when Napoleonic forces came and controlled the area for those brief years. But I really didn't find any other history in that time of Habsburg control. So what happened after 1918? Well, Austria became its own little country, and they made Corinthia a Bundesland, or as we'd say in English, a state within the country. But there was a bit of a discrepancy because particularly in the southern area here, but in areas throughout, there is a very large Slovene population. So down here you can see Slovenia. This area and a few of the other areas down here were forming their own country after the collapse of the Holy Roman Empire after World War I. They were forming the kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, which would eventually become Yugoslavia. So the Slovenes of the kingdom of the Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes wanted this area here, and they actually got some of it down here along the border, but not all of it. But they certainly tried. They occupied Klagenfurt for about a year, trying to get a hold of the area, but it was not to be, and they retreated in, I think, 1920. This area remained part of Austria. Now, very famously, just prior to World War II, Austria was absorbed by Germany in the Anschluss, so it became a region of Germany during World War II. Of course, after that war in 1945 had reverted back to Austria. But in Yugoslavia, the Slovenes here thought that they would have another shot at trying to absorb more of this area into their area. So they tried to occupy the area yet again, to much less success than even before, which was not even, it was like a slight success before. And it was like none like the Allies. The British were occupying the area post World War II, and they were like, no, don't even start. Let's not. And it remained part of Austria. Not part of, at that time, would be Yugoslavia. But there are still many Slovenes living in this area during World War II. There are many groups that fought back against the Nazi occupation, like there was down here in Yugoslavia. But from what I've read, it's pretty predominantly German today. And that, in a sense, is the history of Carinthia. A very brief history of Carinthia. So there's a lot to look at on Google Earth. All 4 places we're going to this week have a lot to look at on Google Earth. So without further ado, let me get the tablet set up and we will look at Carinthia on Google Earth. Here we are in Carinthia. Let's start by zooming out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. Here's Europe. Austria's in Central Europe. It's not loading all the way, but you can very easily find it looking at a map like this because the Alps are so defined from space. They're very easy to see. Sliding here through Switzerland, through northern Italy, up into Austria. Very easy to spot the Alps, and they're so pretty from above. Looks like a brain, doesn't it? All of these big peaks, all of these glaciers, creating all of these beautiful little valleys in between. So pretty from above. All right, let's start down here in Klagenfurt. I bet you're wondering, what was that intro? What did we see in the intro? Well, that was the lindworm, which doesn't want to pop up. Here we go. It was this dragon fountain. So there's a myth that in, I guess, ye olden days, there was a dragon that was slayed on this site, on the shores of the lake. And the town was built in the area where that dragon fell. Big curly tail, and then they added a statue of Hercules there later. Looks like Maria Theresa there, the Empress. Yeah, fighting off this very fearsome dragon. I think it's adorable. It's so cute. It's a cutie dragon. But yeah, that is the town's ancient legend. Oh, look at it all lit up. Beautiful colors there. Yeah, I think it's a neat statue. Looks like Christmas trees there. What else do I have to show you in town? I know I had to show you that because I put it in the intro. Oh, here's the museum for the state. Corinthia, I think is how you say it in German. It's a big, beautiful museum. They got some bears. Some beautiful mosaic floors. Lots of tablet-looking things there. Lovely medieval artwork and statues. That's a really neat shape there for that painting. Looks like some modern art too. Looks like a big old cobweb. There's a skeleton man. Some old helmets here. I think they're Celtic maybe. Look at the spear points too. Some cool shells and butterflies and moths, and spiders and things. That's neat. Mr. Skeleton. Ew. Big old nasty looking mosquito. Looks like a little triptych here. Goes on altars. There's a big hawk. Lots of cool medieval art. Medieval art is so neat to me because it's so two-dimensional, and there's just something kind of not quite right about it. Oh, that's really interesting piece there. There's something uncanny valley about medieval art, especially when you're looking at paintings of babies, because they just look like tiny grown men. But I think it's very interesting. You can see the lake along here. I don't think I found any good slideshows of the lake. Maybe if we look at this Gustav Mahler house. There it is. There's the house. There's a beautiful lake. I feel like if you've seen one beautiful lake in the mountains, you've kind of seen them all. It's, yeah, they're pretty distinct, aren't they? Let's see. I think we need to look at some mountains next. Triglav is just over the border there. I wish we could look at Triglav. It's so pretty in Slovenia. It's on their flag. You can just look at it there. But we're talking about Austria today. Beautiful Austria. Let me get the borders up so that we don't wander into another part of the country. Don't let it think for a little bit. There we go. Okay. It's funny, my office door is closed just enough. I've realized whenever I'm having Wi-Fi issues, it's because the office door is closed. And I guess the Wi-Fi can't handle it, so I have it cracked, but apparently it's not cracked enough for the Wi-Fi to get through the door. Oh dear, oh dear. So let's see. We want to look at Großglockner, which when I first did research, it wouldn't pop up. You can see all the towns near it. So let's see if it can manage to pop up here. I know it's like right on the border here. There it is. You just gotta zoom in really close to make it pop up. And we'll look at the Franz Josef Glacier in a minute. So yes, the highest peak in Austria. We're gonna look at the highest peak in Costa Rica later in this week. But this one's very magnificent because the Alps are just a special mountain range. There are many mountains that, or mountain ranges, I suppose, that come close to the splendor of the Alps, but never quite there. A big ram, mouflon maybe? I'm not sure. There's a tunnel. Kind of scary, going through a big mountain. Look at all the beautiful colors of the wildflowers. Look at all of that snow up there, and look at the gorgeous view. Look at all the climbers down here, like Everest, taking their turn at the top. And it's so pretty in the summer. Look at all the glacial melt running down amongst all these green hills and the sunshine. All of these remarkable trees. Yeah, look at all of the glacial melt coming down into the waters here. So pretty. But yeah, this is, let's think for a minute, the Franz Josef Glacier, right? Yeah, right here. See the big moraine coming down, which is kind of like a big glacier slide, kind of like a slip and slide for a glacier, making a little path through the mountains as it slowly melts. Melts, but not enough for, there he is with his big old mustache. Melting, but not enough for the whole thing to just turn into a puddle, just a little bit by bit. It's the mountain. Franz Josef, of course, being I think the last emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, right? Or at least the last, like, great one. I think he was the last emperor. What's that? Oh, it's a beautiful waterfall. Look at that. How remarkable. Oh, that's pretty wooden carving statue there. Down through the rushing rivers, letting you know what to look for in the view. Oh, what a cute little town there. Or at least a little lodge. Cute little alpine house. Beautiful scenery, all frozen over in the winter. That's Franz Joseph there. We just looked at that. Look how crashing it is. So pretty. Nice big spray there. He's enjoying it. And look at this landscape. Oh, it's so insanely green. If you want to see more green like this, be sure to subscribe, because tomorrow's video, we're going to see even more green, because we're going to Ireland tomorrow. It'll be even greener than that, if you could believe it. All kinds of waterfalls here. Let's put on the 3D real quick, so we can see all the peaks here. Wow. It's so fun to put Google Earth in 3D when it works, of course. Yeah, you can clearly see all of these big valleys, all of the big peaks, hiking trails, little towns along the rivers, little natural area. It's always good to double check now. Look at the sweet cow. Oh my goodness. Look at the sweet cows up in the hills here, having their Sound of Music moment. A wise woodchuck or something there at this little way station, little lodging there. Beautiful green and wildflowers mixed in around the mountains. Big old trees and little lakes and big pretty lakes with all these very nice homes there. Do you think they're summer homes or winter homes? So you can ski down the slopes. Very weird looking wise old men here carved into the tree, looking like a little totem pole. That's interesting. Look at that view. My goodness. All of those beautiful trees. Beautiful sky. These weird rocks with little, they look like beavers. Maybe the thing I thought was a woodchuck was just a big old beaver. Pretty flowers. Oh, I love this picture. That's great. Oh, that's so serene. And another creepy little dwarf creature there to ruin our view. There must be some kind of mythology about these little men in this area here. Alright, let's look at... I think I showed you all the things I wanted to show you, so now we can just play around. Let me get the borders back up one more time. Just one more time. Let it think for a little bit. I was about to say, at least it's not crashing, but if I say that, it's definitely going to crash. Oh goodness, Google Earth, you can do it. You can do it. I'm going to find something to look at before it even loads. You can see the border with Slovenia there. So we're good. We don't need you. You tried really hard. I'm proud of you, but we don't need you anymore. Let's look and see what this is. Waterfall. Wow. Just a straight waterfall. The little bridge above it. Little pools. Little hiking trail there. That looks like so much fun. Oh, that's neat. Going like through the rocks there. All kinds of little flags along this bridge. Oh, we got Croatia. See the UK. Romania looks like. Sweden. Lithuania, that looks like. That kind of looks like Portugal there. All kinds of flags. That looks like Ireland over there. Hey, what a fun little bridge. Usually they show you precarious bridges, but these look like little fun bridges. They look very stable. Look at all the chains holding this bridge up over the waterfall. That's a very safe bridge. That bridge doesn't scare me. And look at all these. Oh, must be exhausting though, going up all those stairs, but if you get this view, it's definitely worth it. This is all in German. I can't read it. All in German. Something happened here in 1573. Some German speaker's gonna have to say what's happening here. The German Peter. What is it? That must be the names of the trails, which looks so much fun. Oh my gosh, I want to do this hike. This looks great. This is my kind of hike. When you're just out in the woods, exploring, going over all kinds of little trails that are rugged but just cleared enough that you can see where you're going. I got lost one time on one of those trails. I wound up just like in the woods. And I had to backtrack. I was lost for like 2 hours in the woods. Oh, that was not a fun hike. But did see some neat stuff. I was lost in the woods. Obviously, I made it out okay. Let's see what this is. It's right near the border with Styria here. It's within it. Look, it's right by the border. Oh, it doesn't want to pull up. Come on. I think we'll end it up here in this mountain range, the Gurktal Alps. Oh, how gorgeous. Yeah, let's end it here at this slideshow. Thank you so much for watching. Oh gosh. I hope it didn't get too light. One of the cats cracked the door a little further and a lot of light is coming in. I hope you guys can't see it. I hope it's still dark. But yes, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing, because like I said, we're going to Ireland tomorrow, and then Costa Rica, which there's so many neat things to show you in Costa Rica, and then back to Wales. There's like so much to show you on Google Earth. If you guys know me, I love me some stone circles. I love the dolmens. I love all of those things. We are going to the dolmen capital of Ireland. We're gonna see some cool ancient stone monuments. So you're gonna want to see me wig out over those because I'm obsessed. Please give this video a thumbs up if you're still awake. Give it a thumbs up right now. And let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd appreciate that very, very much. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have, oh gosh, so pretty. I hope that you have a good night. Here's the exciting bus depot where you can buy tourist books. Wow, and ice cream, I think. Good night. 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 And cut. All right. Your little cut.